Good morning, Muscatine, and happy Monday. Hopefully you all had a wonderful weekend. My name is Autumn Schultz from Discover Muscatine. And just before we get started, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Hy-Vee, UnityPoint Trinity Muscatine, Muscatine Power and Water, Becky Insurance, Toyota of Muscatine, Riva Plumbing and Heating, Impact Fitness and Nutrition, Lutheran Living Senior Campus, Impact Life Blood Center, Harper Cycling and Fitness, Bayer of Muscatine, Muscatine County Fair, and Muscatine Walk to End Alzheimer's. A few events that are happening this week. This Thursday is the Pet Food Pantry, and this will take place on the corner of 4th and Sycamore. This is going to go from 8 to 10 a.m. This allows everyone to attend the Pet Food Pantry first, and then they can head over down to the food pantry at MCSA. And on December 16th from 7:30, it is the Muskie Boys basketball against Davenport Assumption. So you can watch that in person, of course. That's what we recommend. But if you can't make it, you can go to Discover Muscatine on Facebook, YouTube, MPW Channel 3, Roku, Apple TV, or even Amazon Fire TV. So a lot of different ways that you can check it out. Today, to start our Monday, we are at UnityPoint, and we are here to talk to Dr. Rowe to learn more about her position at the Mulberry location. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, especially on a nice cold day.
Yes.
And it's only going to get colder, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been here at Trinity and why did you choose Muscatine Trinity?
Yeah. So I started here at the Mulberry Clinic in September after I finished my pediatrics residency. And as I was finishing my residency, I realized that I really wanted to work in a more rural setting. I really like the opportunities that rural healthcare provides to build those relationships with your patients. UnityPoint really offers that, and I really love the ideals that UnityPoint sets and the kind of values that we follow. We have a great team in the pediatrics clinic that really strives to work together to provide the best care possible for our patients. And so when I came and met with the team, I really just felt at home. All the girls in the clinic really truly care about their patients and love what they do and want to make it the best experience possible for our patients. So really loving it so far and have been enjoying meeting everybody.
Oh, that's great. Well, welcome to the Muscatine area.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell us, Dr. Rowe, a little bit about your background and why you chose healthcare, especially as a pediatrician?
Yeah, so I am from Iowa City originally. I grew up there and actually have been lucky enough to move back home with my husband and back close to family again, which has been wonderful after many years away. So grew up there, went to high school at City High in Iowa City.
Oh, no. I'm in Iowa City West.
Yeah, I know.
I was about to ask you that too.
Yep, yeah. So funny enough, my brother was a West High senior when I was a City High freshman.
Okay.
So we were at rival high schools, and then went up to Cedar Rapids to Mount Mercy University for undergrad, and then over to Des Moines University for medical school. And then I just finished my residency in Peoria, Illinois, and then, like I said, moved back home to Iowa City. I am one of those kids that, since I was yay high, was saying I wanted to be a doctor. It was a vet for a little bit, but then it was a doctor, and I just always wanted to be a doctor. And for a while it was a surgeon and all these things, but then I settled on pediatrician in medical school when I kind of got into the pediatrics clinic and just fell in love with the kiddos. You never know what's going to come out of their mouth. I always say secrets come out of the doctor's office. They're just so much fun to kind of watch them grow up and see kind of what they become. So.
You kind of did a full circle of traveling too.
I did.
Throughout the Midwest area.
Never too far. I don't like being too far from home. I'm a homebody, but did a little circle and yeah.
Oh, I love
to
that.
be home.
Yeah, I was going to ask you whether you were in Iowa City or City High or West High. It's okay.
I was a little hawk.
Working with younger patients, especially like you're saying, like with kids, and they're kind of trusting you. How do you make them feel more comfortable as they walk into your room?
Yeah, absolutely. That is always my goal. So my goal is to make my patients feel as comfortable as possible. going to the doctor can be a scary thing, but it doesn't have to be. And so I try my best to take my time with my kids, especially if I can see that they're a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. I use fun names for the tools that I use. So my stethoscope is my magic ears, and we use my magic ears to listen to your heart and your lungs. My otoscope, or my light that we use to look in your ears, is my magic flashlight, and we use it to look for monkeys in your ears and a turtle in your mouth. And the kids get to guess what color the monkey is going to be, and it tickles because the monkey is jumping up and down. So I do a lot of different things to try and make them as comfortable as possible. And then as they get older, and that doesn't work as much anymore, right? Because they realize that there's not a monkey in their ear. I really try and involve those older kids in their care, and so giving them that opportunity to answer the questions themselves. To talk about what's going on with their body, to ask questions that they might have about what's going on with their body and why we're doing certain things, and really just help them take ownership of their care, because eventually their parent isn't going to be there with them anymore, and they're going to be the sole person that's responsible for their care. And so it's important that we start to teach them those skills as they're in the pediatrician's office, and have that support there to do that.
Oh, that's so much fun. Those fun little creative ways just to make the because it can be very nerve-wracking, especially in maybe a new environment, a new person. So that's a great bond that you're able to connect with them right away with. Yeah. And speaking especially within local pediatrics, especially in helping the Trinity Muscatine grow, why is it so important to keep this going here locally? Absolutely.
I think it is super, super important to have good quality care right at home in Muscatine. Especially when you have a little child, a brand new baby, we have a lot of appointments in that first year of life. And so to have that care right at home, 5 minutes down the street, is that much easier to get to those appointments and make sure that we're answering all of your questions, and baby is growing appropriately and developing appropriately, and not having to drive 30, 45 minutes away to get that quality care. Or when your kiddo is sick and they are not feeling well, to not have to bundle them up into a car and drive that 45 minutes makes such a difference. We're right here. And so kind of keeping that in mind as we get into those winter months and everyone is sick, and just kind of taking advantage of our clinic. And our urgent cares are overwhelmed. We have a lot of people going to the urgent care, and lots of long wait times. And so we really encourage our families to give us a call first, because a lot of the time we can get you in day of or the next day to be seen. So try and call us first and see if we can get you in.
I have a 2-year-old, and so I'm very thankful that we do have, the family care, urgent care, and pediatrics all here, which is just that 5-minute drive, because driving to Iowa City or Davenport, it can be that 45 minutes could feel like an hour, especially in their eyes.
Yep,
or
absolutely.
More. And speaking of holiday season and Christmas coming, cold weather's coming, my least favorite 4-letter S word of snow. I'm really sorry I'm saying it. It's happening apparently soon, and I don't want to say that yet. But what are some of the best practices just to keep kids healthy, especially during their holiday break?
Yeah.
Because that's coming up here next Monday for them.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're there already and the year is almost over. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to kind of help kiddos through that time. So it's a change. They're out of their normal routine. So kind of the big thing that I encourage families to do is try and keep your kiddos in their normal routine as much as possible. So keeping bedtime the same time, keeping their wake up time the same time, keeping their schedule as similar to their usual as possible. So we do our breakfast, lunch, and dinner about the same time. We take naps at the same time, and just kind of keeping things consistent. That's going to help you during that break, but then also when it's time for break to be over and we're ready to go back to school, we're not struggling with that transition back to school. Kind of the same thing with foods. Sticking to your normal routine as much as possible. There's a lot of sweets and things like that at this time of year. Totally okay to enjoy those things, but keeping that balance of we still need to eat our regular diet too, and make sure that we're eating healthy and we eat as sweet, but then we also have our good healthy diet. And then as far as staying healthy and keeping away from all the illness, we have a lot of flu, a lot of RSV, a lot of COVID going around right now. We've had a ton of influenza in the clinic lately. And so kind of all those age-old things that we talk about all the time, washing hands, staying home if you're sick. It's okay to postpone holiday events like family Christmases and things like that if we're not feeling well. You know, it might not be on that day, but you're still going to have that family time, and it's better to do it when everyone's feeling well, and not going to pass illness around.
Yep.
And so really just kind of trying to stick to those things and wash hands and wash surfaces and things like that.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the treats too. So it's just being mindful, you know, still enjoy them, move on, and you know, it's not, don't overindulge in them.
Right.
You have plenty of time to enjoy the treats. Don't have to over consume just in one setting.
Exactly. And kiddos won't do that, so you kind of have to help them, right? So kiddos, if they see a plate of cookies, they're just going to eat cookies until there are no more cookies left, and so we have to help them kind of pace themselves a little bit.
Out of sight, out of mind. Just simple technique. Now, don't forget about them.
Exactly.
Still enjoy them.
Exactly.
And you're talking about like holidays obviously being very busy, very stressful.
Yes.
Now kids are going to be home during the next couple of weeks. You know, parents are having to adjust their schedules. Obviously we get the anxiety portion on it. So how can, like, especially adults help manage that kind of excitement and anxiety, even for their kids during that time?
Yeah. So just kind of watching and keeping an eye on your kiddo and seeing where their anxiety levels, where their excitement levels are at. Kiddos are tiny humans, but they're tiny humans that don't know how to regulate their emotions yet. They need some help sometimes. And so just kind of being aware of where they're at and then helping them to recognize if we're getting overexcited or overstimulated and maybe pulling them back for a moment and giving them a break. They're not going to pull themselves out of an activity to take a break themselves, so we need to help them do that, and helping them recognize that it's okay to take a break every once in a while and just take a breath and reset, and then we can go back to what we were doing. But it's normal. We're out of our normal routine and we're out of what we're used to, so it's normal to have a little bit of increased anxiety, and so we just need to kind of be aware of that and help them navigate that.
And do you have some tips for like parents, especially, you know, with kids being home and they are now having to adjust their schedules? What are some ways that like even parents could, maybe the cues that they're starting to realize that their anxiety is upping and then their kids seeing that? What are some of those kind of bounce techniques that they can use just to reset their own mindset as well?
Yeah. So for parents, making sure that you're kind of also taking a moment to take a step back, check in with yourself, be aware of your feelings. It takes a lot of work for us too, right? We're not perfect, and so it takes time for us to learn how to be aware of what's going on with our body and with our mind, but just giving yourself that opportunity to also step back and say, okay, what's going on with me? Take a few deep breaths, maybe count to 10, whatever works for you, before you go try and manage a child that's overstimulated or overexcited or maybe acting out. Because if you go into a situation like that and you're already overstimulated or overexcited, it makes it that much harder to try and help a child calm down.
We do this thing, it's called the box breathing.
Yeah.
So the 4 seconds in, hold, 4 seconds out, hold, just hit my mic, hold. And so that's something that I've been using because, I have got a 2-year-old, and when they shut down, all of a sudden I stay at home majority of the time. So it's the whole routine of just learning how to balance and be aware that he's there, but at the same time still trying to balance getting work done as well.
Absolutely. Yep. And you kind of find your little thing that works with your child and with you. And then I think a big thing is kind of find what works for you and then stick with it, because they can get confused if you're constantly changing how you're managing things. And so if you're constantly changing how you discipline or constantly changing how you help them calm down, that can be confusing. But if you find something that works for you, stick with that.
And when it comes to, let's just say, snow is here. We are outdoors. We're sledding. We're skiing. We are snowball fighting.
Yep.
What are some things that parents need to keep in mind while their kids are outside?
Yep. So bundle up, lots of layers, all the layers. No such thing as too many layers. If you are cold, your child is definitely cold, and they're not going to tell you, right? Because they're outside, they're having fun. It's the time of their life. There's snow everywhere. They're not going to come up and say, hey, I'm cold, I need to go inside, right? So kind of being aware of that, helping them take breaks frequently, come inside, warm up. But then helmets. We talk about helmets a lot during the summertime. Anything that has wheels, we should be wearing a helmet with, but something also to keep in mind during the winter. If we're sledding, if we're skiing, if we're snowboarding, anything like that, we should have a helmet on our head. Anything where, I kind of like to think about it, anything where you don't really have control of your body, where it can easily get out of control and you can't stop, you should have a helmet on your head, because it's too easy to crash into something, fall, and injure your head.
Yeah, I had plenty of crashing moments while sledding, and I didn't have a helmet on.
Yep, and you think you're just headed straight for a tree, and you're like, well, I can't stop.
Yeah,
so.
That is my stop. That's my break
Yep,
right
exactly.
there, is that tree.
Yep, so a helmet can save a life, so.
Things that I don't think about when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
it was different times when we were kids.
Yeah, totally different time. There was no helmet when I was like sledding or I don't even think when I was skiing. I don't even think I had one on. Good times.
Yeah.
Great safety awareness. Now that obviously we've been talking a lot about the holiday season, and even let's just say they get back into the school, what is something that they need to prepare for, especially school time during the winter?
Yeah. So it really just comes down to making sure that they're prepared for things like the school bus, waiting for the school bus, making sure they're bundled up warm enough, and then illness, just trying to prevent illness as much as possible. So keep your kiddo home if they're sick. Give us a call if they're sick so that we can help you decide if they need to be seen or if it's something that they can kind of ride out at home. Lots of hand washing, all that good stuff. But then also kind of be aware we're cooped up inside a lot during the winter because it's cold and it's snowy and it's yucky outside. And so that can cause a lot of pent up energy. And so helping them find those ways to get rid of that energy is going to be helpful.
I love it. I think that's great advice. Now, if you had advice on how to convince a 2-year-old to keep a hat on, that would be great.
I don't, unfortunately.
It's all right.
It's the never-ending battle, right?
Yeah, it really is. It has to be a particular hat.
Ah, yes.
So, or it's the we have a Woody Sheriff hat that he tries to have as his replacement hat.
You just need to line that with fleece.
Yes, that's what I should do. I just need to put an extra layer on it
there
inside. Dr. Rowe, is there any additional information that you want people to know about you, especially being now a couple months in and being able to share advice for anyone with parents with any children?
Yeah, so I just want to kind of say I'm super excited to be in Muscatine. I have really been enjoying meeting kind of all of the community members. I am accepting new patients, and so I'm excited to continue to meet more families and kind of help kiddos grow up and keep them healthy. And just remember that you guys can always call our clinic if there's questions or concerns. If your kiddo is sick and you feel like they need to be seen, we always urge you guys to call us first because we can often get you in day of or next day rather than going to urgent care or the emergency department.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate all of the amazing information, and especially with holiday seasons coming up, and understanding that, you know, the anxiety especially, the overall stress, and just how to be safety first, especially during the winter season.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was nice to officially meet you.
Yes,
and
nice to meet you as well.
Especially welcome to the Muscatine area.
Thank you.
And hopefully traveling for you during the winter season is nice and easy.
Yes, fingers crossed.
It'll be great, and I will still still have the Iowa City rivalry.
Yes.
Sorry. Doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't.
Muscatine, be sure to join me tomorrow. I will have the Muscatine Y, and they're going to be talking about all of their winter break activities and what they have in store for 2023. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy. I will see you later, Muscatine.
Hi, I'm TJ Deere, General Manager here at Toyota Muscatine.
Hi, I'm Megan and I'm from Muscatine.
My name is Logan and I'm from Muscatine.
Here at Toyota Muscatine, we believe in investing in our community.
And that's why all our members are local to the Muscatine area.
It's why we give generously to charities based in our city.
Because we believe that giving back means paying it forward.
That's why an investment in us is an investment in our community.